just gotta say, one of the prettiest places in the world. Arkansas. Goodness gracious, praise be to Yahuah. The heavens declare the glory of Yah, and the firmament shows his handiwork. Look at this place. Come on. I have been just driving down around, man, between Harrisonville. I've been on this road. Check this thing out. 412, Huntsville, Arkansas, all this region. Just without question, one of the prettiest highways I've ever driven on in my life. I thought I knew some pretty places in Colorado, and it is. There's beautiful places in Colorado, but there is nothing like the moderate mountainous region of Arkansas. They still got these 1,800 foot cliffs. They have, look at this, the scenic byway. You betcha. This place is glorious. I feel like I've discovered the promised land. Hallelujah. The Ozark Plateau. Glory from on high. But the roads are nice. It's like, it still caters towards humans with cars or RVs, whereas some of the areas in the Appalachian area, my favorite other places in the world, the eastern side of the United States roads are so tiny. So tiny, they make it very precarious to try to travel around. Whereas out here, it's just, they got more space. Them Southern Kingdom folks, they just got more space. They know how to spread out, you know? Like the Great Smoky Mountains, you get down into northern Alabama and Georgia, just some of the prettiest places I've ever traveled. Like the oak savannas, the live oak belts of the South. Just the prettiest places ever. Now this though, look at these mature hickory and oak forests everywhere, rivers of living water gushing forth, springs and fountains, just abounding beauty, hills and mountainous ravines, creeks, just astounding. I've traveled like 700 miles in the last couple days around here, and I'm just like drowning with excitement. War Eagle Creek, just come on. The names that the Navajo would just delight in. I just want to understand the Choctaw people. We need the nations of the earth to gather again and tell their stories and bear forth their witnesses, because you know, the enemy, the adversary, the devil of old, is defeated by the blood of the Lamb, the words of our testimony, and not loving our lives even when faced with death. So may Yahuah be praised. May his glory fill the earth. Live vibrantly, y'all, and come and explore the Ozarks. If you can come out here, I highly recommend it. Even if it's the winter, understand a 58-degree spring that's creating rivers is going to be a hot spring during the winter. Even if it's 25 degrees outside, that water will be steaming your face off. You'll have a great time. There's hot springs, there's cold springs, there's warm springs, and they're all wonderful springs. Come and enjoy the splendor of the Ozarks, the strong refuge of Yahuah's people. He's got his cities of refuge all over the country, all over the world. But I assure you of this is for me the land of sojourn. And I am delighted to explore their boundless wonders. Blessed be the name of Yahuah. Blessed be his name. Blessed be the name of Yahuah. Blessed be his glorious name. Live vibrantly today. Go and explore those deciduous forests. That means there's places where the hardwood trees drop their leaves and they're just perfectly mulching the entirety of the system. It's like back to eating gardening continually, only continually out here. It's lovely and it's fertile beyond measure. And most of that fertility though, because of the way the underground rivers are, because this is where the fountains of the waters of the earth are, the waters and the rains that come down, they wash so much of that fertility down into the cracks and the creeks and the crevices and literally into the underground fountains of the earth. It just goes right down into the creeks underground and the rivers that are flowing underground and the caves that are underground, because this is literally the place where all the waters of the continent start. I know, your maps might tell you otherwise, but this is the land where the fountains of the deep open their mouth. And this is where all of the cities of water like the Ammonites. Think about it. The capital of the Ammonites. Said it was the city of water where David had to go scourge those sons because they shaved off his servants' beards. They cut off their tunics down to their buttocks. David just threshed them with the threshing sledges made of iron and drove it over their backs. He dragged them through the muddy streets. But you know what? This is literally the place. There's shagbark hickory. Ooh, you pretty thing. Look at you. You're so lovely. Look at those majestic oaks of Mamre. Come on now. Read the Bible and look at the Ozark Plateau and tell me that this is not a one-for-one for every animal, every tree, every plant, every kind of frost, hail. Incredible. Look at that. Just painted by the fingers of Elohim. Look at those mountains. Come on. This is not the mountains of Gilead. That's the Rocky Mountains. Look at this. Look at this. Yes, I will pull over. Yes. Come on. You know what's so great? Most of the tourists are scared of the place right around this time of year. Just look at this stuff. It's good. It's the best time of the year. Oh, I've been waiting my whole life to get here. Just come with me on a journey. This is not a Bilbo Baggins story. This is not a Hobbit story. This is just one of these things that just, oh, look at this. Come on. Just come out here. You are here. Cherry Bend Trailhead. You see this? This is what's called a topographical map. Okay? In the Appalachians, they had hollers. Hollow. That's the way they say hollow. I know. Peculiar. Don't get put off by people's southern or dialectic accents. It's good for you. Because what it's doing is it's testing you whether or not you're going to be like the people of Babel, where you're lost in confusion, or you're just willing to admit the fact that you don't understand what they're saying. That's okay. Ask them to give you their words well clarified. If not, pray to Yahuah that he would give you the interpretation of tongues, diverse tongues. I'm not talking about noises. I'm talking about sounds and ways of utterances of speech that humans make with their mouth when they're trying to communicate to you directly that you don't understand. Pray to Yahuah. If any of you lacks wisdom, may you ask Yahuah, who provides richly any of our needs. But ask not in doubt, because he who doubts is like a ship without a rudder, tossed about in the sea. Anyways, this is a map that can help direct you from the spot you're standing to this just golden road of glory that will keep you on the top of the prominence points and keep you up instead of slipping down there. Wherever you see a concentration of lines, those stacks of lines. Let's see. What does it say, Mike? I'm looking for a thing that will tell me how far these distances are. Sometimes it's 10 feet of vertical distance. Sometimes it's yards, 10 yards. But this looks like feet. 1,800 feet. Let's see, 1,600 feet. So it might be 50. Let's see. I need a line. So these are telling me elevation points. This is 1,400 feet. This is 1,800 feet. So that's 400 feet of vertical difference here. This is 2,000 feet right here. So you see just a little yonder here. That's 2,000 feet. Do you understand how when you see this just rapid staccato, like machine gun fire, brrr, that's massive precipitous cliffs. Someone might call it bluffs. That's where you go and you just jump off there and you experience all kinds of thunderous wind under your linenish garments. Fly gap. Yeah, you see what I'm saying? Anyways, this is just spectacular. If you see maps like this is places you generally don't build your house unless you want to be the city on the hill. That's a flattish place. That's where the city on a hill that can't easily be hid, where you light a menorah. It doesn't say lampstand. There's not lampstands. It was a menorah. It was a Hebrew Bible, y'all, not a Greek Bible. I know, we've all inherited lies, falsehood, and vanity. But it's okay, because Yahuah is going to bring for us the true records books, like the war scrolls, like the actual books of the wars. You think about why some of these texts were taken from us and hidden from us, and they're like, you're not allowed to have it. Think about this for a second. If you were Hasatan, if you were our adversaries, like if you were the people that knew you had to fight the children of Yahuah Elohim Sevaoth, like the Most High El Elyon, the creator of the heavens and the earth, and your job was to raise up a counter-offensive army to contend with them. You would definitely, first of all, take out their foundations, like the first books of the basic combat training manual, the Torah, the loving instructions of Yahuah. That'd be your first target whenever you got a chance. You want to eradicate them, just like the doctrines of Balaam did back then, just like Balaam did back in Numbers chapter 20 through to 25. If you don't read that section, read it. You should know it. You should know it like your heartbeat knows you. You know your heartbeat. It just happens automatically. That's how good you should know the doctrines of Balaam and how our adversary operates, but how when a man's ways are pleasing before Yahuah, when he walks in the pleasing ways, when you obey Yahuah, that's called righteousness. When you do what he said, like all of it, just do everything he said. It's simple. Like, don't throw out the commandments. That's like, hey, don't kidnap people. It's super bad. Don't do it. It's like, hey, if you're going to poop, don't poop in your neighbor's drinking water. That's bad. Don't do it. If you're going to poop like a squirrel does. Dig a little hole. Poop on in it. Bury it with mulch. It will only give life to everything around it. But if you poop in your neighbor's drinking water, you're going to get your neighbor sick. That's a problem. That's not loving Yahuah with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength, or loving your neighbor as yourself, because you can't love Yahuah and break his commandments. You also can't love your neighbor and break the commandments of Yahuah, because every commandment he gave is for our good only continually. But part of the main adversarial tactics was to sweep our legs and take our foundations. So some of us are starting to pick up the foundations again and be like, oh my goodness, how am I going to stand with my feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of shalom, the gospel of peace, like it says in the book of Ephesians, or like this beautiful acorn. Scrumptiousness. How can I stand there for having my loins girded about with truth, the belt of truth? What is the truth? Psalm 119, 142. Your righteousness is righteousness forever, and your Torah is the truth. So the Torah is your lamp, the Torah is the light, the Torah is the way, the Torah is the truth. It's like Yeshua is the Torah. It's like from Genesis to Revelation, that's the Torah. It's the loving instructions. It never changes. He is Yahuah Elohim. He changes not. Therefore, the sons of Jacob do not perish. Really important fundamentals. He doesn't change. Neither does his word. Neither should any of you add to or subtract from one word, one jot, one tittle, one letter of his word, lest the plagues that are written herein be coming upon your own head. See, I've been dealing with translators of scriptures a lot, like the lying pen of the scribes. And it's so frustrating because people are playing by copyright laws. And instead of just freely receiving the word and freely giving it out and not making any alterations for biases or anything else, like, where is just the authentic word of Elohim from the very beginning, the entirety of it? There's hundreds of books that have been written, not just 40, not just 66, not just 82. There's so many that have been written. And you know what? Yahuah has the power to hide them and conceal them for seasons. And so do our adversaries whenever Yahuah gives them permission to do so. Because you know what? He could just go ahead and open up this tree right here. I could walk up to it, pluck it out of the earth, even though these amazing tech screws right here, just, even though all of this is anchored in here so well, the tree's going to win against the screws. This tree right here, this beautiful, majestic, what are you, a beautiful white oakish creature? Look at that thing. Even though it's been here a long time, Yahuah could flip it over and right there could be waiting the book of books, the war scroll. Because we need the war manuals. And you know what? I know it's in the Torah. I know it's in the books of Judges and Joshua. But like it gives all these other accounts that we don't know. We like literally don't even know how to drive, get the keys to the sports car. And just, we don't know how to drive this thing. It's like, yeah, I was like, I'm not giving you the keys to the ultimate weapon arsenal until you guys learn the fundamentals and you can be trustworthy. And that makes sense. He's a good father. And I'm kind of reckless and I'm excitable at times. It makes sense that he's not going to give me the B-2 stealth bomber yet. But you know what? As we are proven faithful with little, he will give us much more. And I just want to know, how do we physically combat our enemies? With spiritual weapons. Like, I'm not just talking about like bang bang style. I'm talking about like with the spiritual weapons that Yahuah has been waiting. Like the captain of the heavenly host that stood before Joshua. Like Yeshua HaMashiach. Sword drawn in his hand. Like they're going to go invade Canaan. Finally. And he's like, gave him specific war manual. Like, where are all those books? Where's all those books? Like, we get little accounts and snippets, but like, where's our tactics book? Like, do you know what I'm talking about? If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's okay. Like, a battlefield commander is going to have a tactics book that's only going to be given to him when he gets that job. There's going to be a version of it that's given to you if you go to NORAD and you're a part of Air Force Command. Like, from one little bunker-ish, gigantic, super underground city known as Colorado Springs and Denver, Castle Rock, that whole entire area, Schriever, Peterson Air Force Base, the United States Air Force Academy, like that whole region, like the original lands of where like I got my military feet wet, that place. That's an entire underground world there. And they don't let everybody down into that. But if you do, it's because there's an entire place that from one spot, they control and can see everything that's in the air. I mean, everything. Like, you're like, I put my drone up in the air. They saw it in Colorado Springs. Like, everything. They see where I'm standing right now, and they're like, oh, yeah, that guy. I'm like, I'm standing under this tree. I can hide. Come on, son. But you know what? It's like an iota of a drop of the bucket of what Yahuah has in his Porsche Cayenne. Look at that thing, savage. Anyways, in Yahuah's arsenal, he has all seeing. It's totally different. There's like these beings that are servants of Yahuah that are just covered in eyes. They're like only eyes. You're like, that's a serious intelligence asset. If you could see all things, omniscience, all-knowing, like nothing contends. Hey, Mazda RX-7, that is a car of my youth right there. That was the things I used to drive when I used to drive way faster. That was it, second gen. Savage. There's a total like automobile club that's just rolling around these parts. They're so brave. Anyways, we need the war scrolls. We need the weapons of our warfare. And you know what? I'm going back to the physical sticks and stones method. See, because when I look in here, I see hickory bows. Just, there's a little, you can make hickory staffs and bows and arrows. Like everything we need is richly provided to us whenever we ask and whenever we need. He's like, boom, there you go. Let me just mulch the forest for you so you can walk through here and not get greenbriers and poison oak and poison sumac. And you can't just be destroyed by everything like this Virginia creeper that's just being a parasite to this poor tree. I'm so sorry, buddy. You're on the struggle bus right now. You're parasitically infecting this guy. I'm pretty sure it's a Virginia creeper. Anyways, they invade and they go back down into here and they tap their way into the phloem of this tree and they're slowly sucking it alive. That's what it's like all the time, day and night in the world. Just return to the foundations of Yahuah. The devil's walking stick. Mercy from Yahuah. I have found you. This is on my tree of trees list. One that I must find because of its medicinal properties and because how savage and ridiculous is that thing. See, tell me an angel didn't go ahead of me, a messenger of Yahuah, and prepare this path for me. Look at this thing. It's literally cut to size. Someone used a sharpish saw. Sharp saw to cut that thing down. I mean, that's my destiny right there. That's so intimidating. I'm so enthralled right now. Anyways, I'm all hopped up on enthusiasm and way too much 45-degree weather. And I'm finally wearing wool and I have hair that's just coming out of my head in such quantities that I have to put hats on it. I'm going through a real physical human transformation out here. The Ozarks will change you instantly. And Yahuah goes through some sifting and some testing out here like nowhere else in the world. But he who endures to the end will surely not lose his reward. So, I just encourage you all, pray diligently, in secret. You don't need to make long, lengthy prayers outside in public. You can do it silently. Yahuah can hear the deaf and the dumb and the mute. Just read about the father of John the Baptist, who was righteous in all that he did. Meaning you can keep the commandments of Yahuah. Meaning no, they are not burdensome. Meaning that you absolutely, certainly can be transformed from the man you were and become more like who he is. That you can walk in a way that's pleasing before him. That you are a sweet savor before him. And that you are found faithful, trustworthy, and true. I want y'all to be found faithful and trustworthy and true. I am just a man. I'm just some dude in the wilderness. Please don't ever think that I'm some kind of guy to regard. And I'm just a student desperately trying to understand the master's ways. There is one master of masters. It is Yeshua, who I am trying to set my eyes on him, the author and the perfecter of my faith, and I'm trying to follow him. But please do not make me any kind of an idol for any of you. If not, I'm going to try to be psycho and crazy and offensive until you leave me alone and you just go turn to his word, because the same Ruach that lives in me can live in you if you would just yet call upon him and ask him to fill you with peace in every area of your life, that you would be transformed by the renewing of your mind so that you can know and test what is the will of Elohim, that you could wash yourself in the water of the word, because all you need is one drink of that cup and you'll never thirst again. And we just need to pray, please pray, that Yahuah would return to us the original texts, the ones that have been safeguarded for all these generations here in the ark of strong refuge. He has had his priests guarding the word day and night diligently. That fire never went out. He is always faithful to guard his word. And the earth opened up its mouth to swallow up that ark of the covenant, to conceal it for a time. But you know what? It'll bring it out. He will bring out his witnesses, those stones, those living stones of testimony that he assuredly hid for just such a time as this. I hope you all will just live courageously every single day of your life, because though the days may be evil, folks, were you not born for such a time as this? Come on. Go find your staffs in the wilderness of splendor. I love y'all.